Shout out Big Steve.
What's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Big Brain MMA. I'm your host, Big Steve, like usual. We're trying to make money betting MMA. This week it's UFC 301. Decent sized pay-per-view, not as good as 301, but 300, but it is what it is. Did we make money last week? No, we didn't, unfortunately. We should have. Starting with LFA, I'll do a quick recap. I lost $1,000 there, half a unit. Some stupid bets, I bet on Zeb, Vincent, Aryan-looking motherfucker, and I was lining up $4,000 on an under in the Tolanzic fight, and that got pulled day off. They even made the weigh-ins. So you just know I had this bad feeling when you're confident bets are getting pulled and things like that. Just things are not going right. But then in the UFC, started off great, to be honest. It was a tough card for betting, and the night before I stayed up till midnight retaping everything. I added some Ivana Petrovic inside the distance. Should have done 2-3, but whatever. I didn't want to risk it. I played 1,000 to win 600 there. What else? I played Dontel Mays go the distance, 1,000 to win 700. Passing some Victor Henry stuff. I had Uroš Medic under 1.5, which I mentioned on the podcast. I hit nice and easy. I won 1,200 there. I live bet on Nama. Round 1, when he was still an underdog. I don't know why I didn't bet that pre. I had it circled, but at least I got that. And I was up 3,000. I would have been up 4,000, and I would have been in profit for the month if Jonathan Deniz won in round 1. Unfortunately, he got taken down with a stupid-ass takedown ASAP. It's annoying because every takedown that old mate attempted got stuffed, and he got knocked out in round 2, which I had a bad feeling about. But, half a unit poke. I had to poke it. So we went down to 2,000 there. Then I threw away 500 on Ariane Lipsky live. I thought, she showed that she can survive on the ground with Silva, and I thought Silva would gas. Silva won a decision. Props to her. And then I lost, 2,000 on this under 1.5 in the Bogdan Ryan Spann fight. He basically lost by a minute. Ryan Spann. I blame Ryan Spann for that. So much top time, just doing nothing. Absolute idiot. This guy's been an idiot in so many of his fights. I guess it serves me right for betting his fights. But it's pretty reliable to die or kill someone in under 1.5 rounds. So. And then I ended up $400 down after being almost $4,000 up. That kind of tilted me. And usually the tilt makes me upset, and I do something stupid in the main event, and I force something, and I lose even more money. I said I wouldn't do that, so I just passed on a really good bet on Alex Perez, which I had circled with David Onama. So that actually upset me even more. So every time I see Perez's face, I get annoyed because that would have put me in profit for the week. So in terms of the month, whatever. Worst case scenario, lost 3,300, which is only 1.7 units. First month on 2,000 units. What are we on a year? 9 units for the year, like 7,000, and 1,500 lifetime. 150,000 lifetime. That's whatever. That's just hopefully that gets better. But look at the positives. Nothing amazing, but the positives are still up 7 units. It's something. But at the end of the year, it'll be even more. So try, enjoy, have fun. And I brought on a special guest, Pepe, who knows all about it. How are you, sir?
Yo, what up, bro? Last card was fire for an Apex card. Sorry about the bad beats that you had, but
shit happens.
Yeah. I was pretty happy about the Korean Silva play because even though there was a ton of movement on that and in my direction, I got on her at plus 110. It felt like everyone I talked to was on the Lipsky side, so it was nice to finally get a bunch of CLV and it come through.
Yeah, I mean, at plus money, it's a great play.
Had to mute for Dogfather.
That's it. He loves it. He's all about that zestiness. What was I going to say? Yeah, he actually felt like the streak was over, When you're hitting like 3-4 bets in a row, I'm like, this is it. Dennis is going to make it 4,000, and then Span's going to make it 5,000. But shit happens. I'm pretty good at not getting upset. Same shit as last year, right? March and April, that was my worst months, and I was a lot more tilted last year. So I'm cool, Well, I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
You know what they say? April showers bring May flowers. So hopefully the rain of April harvests some nice fruitful May for you.
I don't know they say that, but that's good because May was pretty good for me last year. So let's get into it, shall we? I know you don't have much time. Alrighty. Same method as before, but I decided I'm not going to interrupt like I did old mate. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But yeah, I'm not always going to have guests, so when they come on, I might let them ramble. We'll see, because it's a special occasion. Alessandro Costa versus Kevin Borjas. Borjas, slight underdog, barely an underdog, and money's coming on him. Maybe I've got something to do with that because I played him, but I know a lot of people played him. It's the first fight I taped. I just felt like, the gut straight away said that Borjas shouldn't be an underdog. Obviously, I know both these guys well. I'm not really a Costa fan. I played Erceg against him as a slight favorite, and I don't think he has a good win on his record. Who is it? Maybe Jimmy Flick. Your browser has lost connection to your screen. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool. Just my computer being. I was going to say something. I can't say that word. Yeah, just best win is what Jimmy Flick, which is probably the ideal matchup for him. Elite takedown defense and just flaky, and a split decision against Luna, who's a nobody on Contender Series. So I think Borjas showed me more against Diaz when he was a massive underdog, and he showed me more against Van, who, I mean, look how much hype Van has, and even dropped him in round 3. Dropped him in round 1, dropped him in round 3, and he lost the competitive 29-28. So I think I couldn't really play Borjas early. Something was stopping me. But then I said, I've got this horrible feeling passing on Perez last week, and I'm just going to lock it in. I'd rather lock it in and lose than not lock it in and him win. He's a bit one-dimensional. He's pretty much just a striker, so I think that's maybe what's putting me off. But I think he should, I like what I see. I like the heart and the IQ, and Costa's a bit of an idiot. He's just a brute, an idiot, and he might hit harder, but I think in a 15-minute fight, I think Borjas as a dog is the side. Should be like a no-brainer. What about you?
Yeah, I've actually done really well betting on Costa fights, and I think this matchup is kind of like his Contender Series fight, except Borjas is just a way better version of that Mexican that he fought on Contender Series. Looking up his name. Luna, yeah. I think Borjas is a better version of Luna. So I had Costa in the Contender Series fight, and then I had Albazi by knockout in his UFC debut. I laid the chalk on him against Flick because I was just like, Flick had barely any win condition in that fight, and then I played Erceg against him last fight, and I don't know if I told you this, but I'm on Borjas too for 1.5 units at plus 133. I think it's a solid spot. Costa is super low volume. I think Borjas will be able to outbox him. He's got the much cleaner striking, higher pace. The only concern is if Costa can get his grappling going, but he's shown that he's not as good as we thought he was with his grappling. Very sloppy positionally. When he got some top time on Luna in the Contender Series, he completely botched it, goes for dumb submissions. I think Borjas will be able to stay safe. And Costa doesn't set up his striking. He just wings overhands. He's got power, but I think Borjas will be able to see everything coming. And Costa is definitely a bit chinny. I mean, Albazi barely has any power, and he knocked him out in round 3. He got rocked against Erceg. I like Borjas' striking. It's clean. He just has bad defensive grappling. But yeah, I have a pretty good feeling about Borjas in this spot. I didn't go massive, but also I thought it was kind of funny that this is the first fight of the night, and I don't know if it was the last Brazil card, but the card that they had Daniel Marcos against Simon Oliveira, Peru versus Brazil. It was the first fight of the night, and then Peru got the round 2 KO. So I'll predict round 2 KO for Borjas here.
You're not really a stat guy, but you just have all these pub trivia stuff in your brain always.
Yeah, no, I don't look at stats.
Yeah, I know, but you got like this other random ass tidbits from different fights. Had like a different time.
Dude, I look at stats. I just don't quote them like everyone.
Yeah, I think they're kind of useless in MMA. Like,
yeah, you have to be able to contextualize, which
yeah, exactly. When I listen and someone goes, this fight should be definitely over because 100% of their fights go over, and it's like two durable guys, I just cringe. I cringe straight away. It's like,
yeah, it's a little more nuanced.
Go in a bit deeper, my friend. Go in,
Yeah.
Under looks good. Yeah, I don't know. I was going to address. So we basically agree. I was going to say it looks like no one's going to mention the chin, but then you jumped it in at the end there, which is good. Yeah, a few comments. Hello, Evan. Hello, sir. I have to disagree with Danny. All right, Pepper cutting weight for a fight. Beautiful. I have to disagree with Danny P. I bet Borjas versus Van. I think this is a tougher stylistic matchup. I think it's actually easier because, come on, man, Van is way more put together than Costa, and he's also not chinny, and he's going to keep coming and pressuring. Costa just doesn't have a cohesive game over 15 minutes. And the last one, Steve's giant glasses look like construction goggles. They are, sir, because I'm at work. I'm at work till 5 p.m. today. So, all right, let's move on. Ismael, Bonfim, Vinc, Pichel. I'm going to be honest. These juice fights probably took the least amount of my time tape-wise. I taped them still. Some of these other fights I taped double because I wanted to be. When I taped last week, double. Even the lower level fights, the fights that didn't look like they were good for betting, I found spots like Don't Tell Mays Go the Distance. So I did that this week so I could be prepared for my special guest. And then I neglected some of these other bum-ass fights. So, it's definitely dog or pass. I don't think Ismael Bonfim is someone that I feel comfortable parlaying. He's a guy that's, like predominantly a boxer. He can be taken down. He's a bit of a decision merchant. And in Brazil, and I don't think Pichel is washed despite his age. Obviously, losing to Mark Madsen, that was a horrible look. I was on him there. I remember throwing out my TV. He just had to get up, but he was playing guard. But yeah, Ismael's probably just going to strike with him. So yeah, it's whether you can get around on a dog shot to Pichel, and that's about it. He can keep it competitive on the feet. He did so with Austin Hubbard. He did so with Silva, who we'll talk about later. But I got nothing, man. What about you?
No, I mean, I think if anything, I would be looking at a total, and probably over or like GTD, just because Pichel's been historically durable. And Bonfim doesn't really push for a finish that much. And Pichel should be able to keep it relatively competitive. But I don't even really want to get involved, I don't think. I don't like to force too many bets, you know what I mean? I'm trying to be a little more selective these days and just go bigger on them.
Mm-hmm. That's the ideal. I'm trying to do the same, but yeah. Right now I'm in the phase where I'm betting the win is small and I'm betting the lose is way too big. So
yeah, that's just how that's just variance.
Yeah, it's just how it goes, man. I'm not really getting upset by anything these days. All right, let's move on to this fight, shall we? Diane,
this is the main event.
It is because this is the fight that I wasted time taping twice, and I actually taped this in advance. There's two fights that I taped in weeks in advance. So Diane Barbosa now decent sized favorite, minus 200. I know a friend that had 4 units on her, 1 unit shy of max bet. Obviously, a much better line. He's the one that killed it. So I started taping this. I'm like, oh no, this guy's going to kill the line, and his whales are going to ruin it even more. But I know I'm not really a massive fan of Barbosa because I faded her on Contender Series by that horrible Mexican or Peruvian chick that's just like a greedy wrestler. And that fight looked good to me. She went for a stupid head and arm throw. Guerrero ended up on top. Got out of back take. Got up on top. Got on top again. I'm like, this is it. Rounds 2 and 3 are going to be even easier, right? Because Barbosa's going to slow down. And this Guerrero has great. And then she gets armbarred from guard, right? And I know Ernesta, I go deep, extremely deep on Contender Series. I tape all the Contender Series fights like 2-3 times because there's not much tape out there. So I go in, I look at all the details and whatnot. I know her. I know she barely whenever she wins, she doesn't have a good win on her record. Whenever she wins, it's a split decision. She doesn't have much power. It's just all volume and really weak hips. So I've come around to Barbosa after doing deep tape. It's like she's actually really good at mixing her striking and takedowns. Her wrestling's average. And obviously, she's got a bit of judo, and that's kind of average too. She goes for head and arm throws, always loses position. But she's good at striking and then, level changing. And, obviously control's decent. But I'm not that impressed with someone that's a black belt in judo and jiu-jitsu. I expected someone with better control. Her level of competition is low as well. Jessica Middleton and Marina Piccoli and obviously this Guerrero chick. Jenna Bishop is good, and she was actually hurting Jenna Bishop on the feet, but she got taken down herself. Yeah, I come away thinking this is probably a levels fight. I think Diana Barbosa wins a minus EV. I get why people are tempted on Ernesta. I know that you're on Ernesta too. Sorry to spoil it for everyone. Because the same shit, I saw the same shit on tape, I faded Barbosa for the same reason of contender, and now it's like Ernesta, she's going to throw a million strikes. Yeah, she can be taken down, but what if she doesn't get taken down for one round? What if she gets up? She's young. So I just ended up passing. I have half a unit on Barbosa at like $1.61, and then I couldn't really add more action because other books didn't have it. And then, it got destroyed. And upon retape, I'm like, I'm just going to pass. It's like, I feel like if I play Ernesta, she's going to lose a close decision in Brazil. If I play Barbosa, it's going to be sweaty and it's going to look square,
Yeah, I think Barbosa is going to be a popular pick among people. She seems like it, at least. I think people are going to just try to parlay and play the submission line and everything. And I'm taking the shot on Ernesta. I think she's a side. I understand that it might look like a terrible bet, like if she's just gets grounded the whole time, but Barbosa's not that good positionally, like you had mentioned on the Contender Series. It was super sloppy. Her work, I thought she was going to be a lot better, and that girl's a bum. And now you're getting Ernesta, who's 25 years old. She's huge for the division. She's been training at Masters full time. Previous to her training at Masters, she was training at a shit gym in Lithuania, and she looked a lot better on Contenders than she did on tape. So I think she's just one of those girls where her regional tape is going to look awful, but she's going to be making massive improvements from fight to fight. And sometimes you get these taller fighters that are just more difficult to take down. Like, for instance, like Sean Woodson. I remember when Zalal was trying to take him down, and there was such a height disparity that he was having a difficult time. Now, I know that's way more than the disparity between Ernesta and Barbosa, but I think Barbosa or Ernesta is going to have gained a lot more physicality than she had, because she's obviously a noodle with her height. But yeah, I'm expecting improvement fight to fight with these green WMMA fighters. Sometimes they just make massive improvements between each fight. So
yeah, go on.
And another thing is, I think the takedowns are going to be more difficult to come by as the fight goes on as well. I saw that Barbosa slows a little bit, and she relies on muscling her opponents down with those judo tosses. I think it's going to be a little more difficult as the fight goes on. And I liked Ernesta's output and her cardio. She seems like a tough bitch.
Yeah, can't disagree. As I said, those are all the things that made me consider her too. But yeah, I still feel it's a levels fight. I feel like she's one of those tall chicks that just doesn't really have any hips. And yeah, I mean, I agree with Barbosa slowing down, but she doesn't really exert any energy. Like her last two, Jessica Middleton and Pichel, her best rounds were round 3 and they couldn't really get up. But yeah, no point repeating everything. I guess it's a dog or pass, but if anything, I'll just play an Ernesta decision or a split or some shit. Or I feel like Edward Bryan here. If fight gets extended, it'll be trouble. I don't know, man. I think you see some of her blot fights or whatever her name is. Let me check now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blot. Yeah, Blot. I was like, no way, that could be her last name, but that actually is a Blot. Some of those fights, she stuffed round 1 and 2, and then the takedowns came in 3, 4, and 5. It just depends how this fight's going to go. It's an extremely volatile fight to me. I don't feel confident. But yeah, Edward Bryan is Eddie Tyrone. Eddie Tyrone, thanks for listening, sir. Hope you're doing well. One of the legends. Glimbot, and in the bigger cage too, takedown makes it more likely to stay on the feet. Yeah, look. Yeah. Also, I forgot to mention that Barbosa actually has serviceable striking, man. She actually has serviceable.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Upon retape, I'm like, I thought she was like a one-dimensional jiu-jitsu person, but Big Bird, don't need to tape this. Gazelle bitch getting her arm snatched. Yeah, maybe. Anything's possible in this fight. Alrighty. Speaking of fights that I taped early, All right, Mauricio Huffy, Jamie Mullarkey. I love Huffy, man. I bet him on Contender Series, but he was a decent-sized dog, and that was an easy click. And now I'm getting him, when I taped, he was $1.70. I don't know what that is in American odds, but it's 20 cents away from Pick'em. And I still passed. Because I reminded why I didn't go big against Raymond. It wasn't his takedown defense, which is elite. It was his hit ability and how he has his hands down and, the volume. He likes to pick his shots. He gets hurt. Obviously Souza knocked him out, which is no big issue. Souza's undefeated and he just killed Tim Wild in Bellator. But he also got dropped by 11-6 dude in round 1 ASAP. And he just takes everything on the chin, but he rolls with it. And, that's all well and good because he's got a good pull counter. But I don't like guys that roll with it when, Jamie Mullarkey has a decent power himself and he has like a good 1-2 down the pipe as well. So I essentially wrote down Mullarkey's going to be the faster. He's going to have a lot of leg kicks. And Huffy's going to be looking for that big shot and his own leg kicks, which, he might get. He's dropping down to lightweight, which is no big deal for Huffy. Most of his fights are at lightweight. I think he just took that on, I don't know, short notice or something, a welterweight in Contender Series. But yeah, now the line is destroyed. I was going to wait for KO, but I'll be honest, I do regret passing on Huffy at that early line. It's not because of the CLE, but it's just like as the time went on, I was like, all right, I think you can give him 65% maybe in Brazil. Mullarkey's just not that good. And that chin, just for the chin alone, I should have just played one unit. But now it's gone, so I'm not going to force anything. What about you?
Yeah, I completely passed on this fight. I'm not a big Mauricio fan, to be honest. He's just too low volume. He gets into, he can just stare for a while. And he doesn't throw a lot of head strikes. So, yeah, it's his UFC debut, too. I don't want to lay juice on a Contender Series winner at juice. So yeah, it's a dogger pass for me, but yeah, I just don't trust Mullarkey in Brazil. I don't know.
He's a tough man to trust, especially when he's not going to hit takedowns here.
He looks regressed too.
Yeah, I actually had high hopes for him. I mean, he's Aussie. I'm not really a fan of him or anything, but
around the time of the Devontae Smith fight, I was thinking that he was kind of decent.
Yeah, I mean that was a great play there. If you're a flake, he's going to run through you. That's the thing with Mullarkey. But if you hit hard, he might get deaded right before he even gets there. What was I going to say? I have to disagree with this man again. I don't love to disagree with my fan. It's just one of those days. Ruffy, resume, low-key. Look, he has a lot of bums on his record. But Manuel Souza, and Magomed Daliev, I mean, it's kind of made up for it. And he's Ronnie Torres, this guy that's 41-8. This guy was in the UFC and is extremely durable. I think that was one of the only times he was knocked out, and Huffy knocked him out. But he's all right. Like every regional Brazilian dude, they have a lot of bumps on their record, but he showed to be. He can take a step up in competition. All right, let's move on. Joaquim Silva versus Drakkar Klose. Joaquim Silva, decent-sized dog. A bit of money coming in on Klose. And I taped this one decently last night, and I kind of left thinking there's quite a bit of value on Silva. I personally think the only reason Silva is an underdog here is because of his durability. That's pretty much the only reason. What do you say, Pepe?
Yeah, I haven't gone around to taping this one yet. It's just one of the least interesting fights on the card. So, yeah, I haven't taped it yet. Right, Silva's not someone I've historically been high on. I didn't like how he slowed down so much against Guida. Like, that wasn't a good performance at all. It looks like he's on steroids, if that matters for anything.
I mean, he definitely is. Well, I'll take over then. I was going to give it to you, but because you haven't taped it and I went relatively deep, I'll take over. Yeah, I basically think these guys are, similar level, right? There's nothing to say they're not. Obviously, surprisingly, Drakkar Klose is actually older. He's 36, but I thought Silva was the older one. Yeah, it's just the durability, man. You look at their records, Silva's beaten Jared Gordon, Jesse Ronson, Clay Guida. Really, really good performance against Armin Sarukian. I thought he was a bit unlucky to get robbed against Vinc Pichel. And same as Klose. Klose was always close to the ranking. And then when he's taken a step up, Darius killed him. David Tamor upset him. Like he's a bit of a dummy, just constant pressure. But yeah, he's durable and he's got underrated power. And Silva has the chinny issue. He's got the volume issue, and he also cardio. As you said, he slowed down against Guida. He slowed down against Armin to the point where Armin just ran through him in round 3. But he can also have a war, man. That Jared Gordon fight, I had him there as a dog, and I think he was losing either 1-1 or 2-0, and just nothing more exhilarating than your guy just coming back, just start brawling and knock him out with 2 minutes to go.
Never in doubt.
Yeah, those feelings are the best. I haven't had them in a while, but when it's an amazing fight and then you also win your bet, that's usually it's an amazing fight and you lose or something, or you don't even have a bet on it. So he can have a war, man. I think it's competitive, but I'll have to see if I'll come around to it, because I know it's going to be low volume and Drakkar is going to be pressuring him and he's going to try to take him down. Silva's extremely hard to take down, keeps popping up, and he can kill anyone. So he can definitely kill, a 36-year-old Drakkar class. But I'll see. No way I'll play it minus 200. This is not freaking Jenkins, man. Wild disrespect. I know Big Bird is on it. If Silva chin holds up, the line will pick him. Exactly. And I was also impressed that he came back in round 3 against Guida and took it. It was 1-1 and it was slowed down, and Guida's an animal, man. Guida looks like someone that's on roids. I know he's always been a beast, but at 41 years of age, there was a time where he looked washed, and now all of a sudden he's got like a Jim Miller resurgence. But anyway, let's move on. Doggo pass, clear there. The totals there are pick 'em as well, which I think is accurate. Am I showing the right screen?
Yeah.
Gene Silva versus Gomis. I think this is close to pick 'em now. And just a wild line movement. Gene Silva was a decent sized favorite. Someone I know played him. Then a bunch of dudes I know played Gomis. So it just keeps going up and down. I personally, when I taped it last night, I thought, what a tough fight to get a read on. Gomis is really good at winning decisions. He's a king weasel. But at the same time, they're always minus EV. And Silva's going to be the one that's, if he's going to win rounds, they'll be the clear rounds, because he's got big power and he's got a good variety of strikes. He actually reminds me of Pereira, who we'll talk about later. It's like a different style of Pereira. Hands low, switches stances, flying knees. Down to the entrances, they're pretty similar. They're both dancing when they're walking in and doing stupid shit. But yeah, now that it's closed up, I'm kind of leaning Silva, to be honest, in Brazil. Personally, I think Gomis gets hit quite a lot. So that's my thing here. What about you, mate?
Yeah, I was planning on passing when Silva was like minus 140, minus 150. But then when the line came in a bunch, I ended up jumping on Silva at pick'em, or minus 115. And yeah, I think he can. I think it's going to be easy for him to steal rounds with moments, because Gomis has such little power. He's so negative. He just skirts around, tries to counter. But, I don't think his wrestling is any good. His control's not good. The Harilla fight is very telling on how this fight could play out, except Harilla's just extremely plotting, can't cut off the cage. And I rate Silva's striking way more. And he was even struggling against Francis Marshall, which is a terrible sign, because Francis Marshall's like a low-level striker. I rate Silva's striking a lot more than Francis Marshall's. So, yeah, I'm going to give him all the big moments, and then the home crowd advantage. They're going to be going crazy if he lands a big shot. Gomis just hates being in exchanges. Like, even Jarno rocked him a bit. I think it was in round 2. But Gomis could rely on his grappling, because Aarons has such bad takedown defense and is able to be controlled. He'll play jiu-jitsu off his back. But I think Silva is going to be the much more physical guy. He's going to be the one pushing the pace. I think he's a solid look at around pick'em, but I cap him around 60%, minus 150.
Nice, man. I kind of agree with all that. Even the Marshall fight, he kept landing a straight right to Gomez's chin, And it's like, yeah, you don't want to eat those against Silva. The only concern with Silva is obviously when he was a bigger favorite, he kind of threw away round 1 to Vallejos on Contender Series, and he didn't really know what he was doing until he warmed up. It seems like he can't fight on the back foot, right? Whereas Gomis can.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like obviously in this fight, Gomis is going to give him the front foot, and Gomis because he just loves backing up. So yeah, at Pick'em, I might have to lock something in, man. Maybe at least half a unit, and just hope that he gets his moments. And even if he doesn't, yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah,
I'm not shitting on Gomis like some others. I can see when he was still in Cage Warriors, I was like, man, this guy's King Weasel. This guy's he will definitely win fights in the UFC just because he's smart. But yeah, we'll see if I want to put my money on Gene Silva.
Yeah, I mean, like a bunch of Gomis wins are split decisions. So like I kind of view his ceiling in this fight like a 29-28 split decision. So yeah, I think Silva's going to be the only one or way more likely to look like big favorite. So that's why I had to play him.
Yeah, and that would have been a good play when he was a big size underdog, split decision, but now not really. Alrighty. Sick fight right here. Elves Brener, Myktybek, Orolbai. Yeah, I thought I'd be playing Orolbai at Juice, and the boy Dogfather did it. And he's good everywhere. He can wrestle for 3 rounds like Khabib. He's got cardio. He's got a nice right hand down the pipe. And Brener from tape, quite susceptible to getting hit, especially with that right hand down the pipe. But I don't know, man. I just left thinking Elves Brener is a beast and he's improving. And last time he got wrestled was to a decision loss was against Gabriel Santos, who I'm extremely high on. Extremely unfortunate that guy's on a 2-fight losing streak in the UFC. Then you'd give him like a squash match, like they did with Weston Wilson. Get him back on track. And even then, he ended up on top of Gabriel. He was punching him. He's a typical shooter box guy that you can take him down, but you can't hold him down. He's always looking for scrambles. He's attacking the legs like his boy Charles Oliveira. But yeah, I mean, those are 23 years of age. He's 26. I keep seeing improvement. He was taking down Guram Kutateladze, who's elite takedown defense, with ease. And I'm like, wow, this guy has offensive wrestling now. He's got strikes. He's got a nice jab. The only thing is cardio. He slowed down in round 3 against Guram, and he slowed down in that Gabriel Santos fight, but he still came back and killed Guram in round 3. So it's like, I don't know, man. I think the sky's the limit for Elvis. I thought he was a lot worse, and now I'm just like coming around on him. And he obviously has power as well. Power, jiu-jitsu, everything. But, can Orolbai win a extremely minus EV decision? We've seen a lot of these Russians or Kazakhstanis recently just always winning minus EV decisions. The guy that I faded in LFA with Lima basically did nothing for 3 rounds. Won, Gadziev, Razabanov, Kizriev, all these dudes in PFL. They just know how to win a 29-28. So I'm thinking that could be alive here. But yeah, I think it's a dog or pass for me, man. I considered the over as well, but he got hit. He got hit this morning. It's 10 cents worse. What about you?
I played the over at minus 120.
Yeah, that's who it was. It's always you. Every time I look
No,
at something.
no. It wasn't me this time because I played it a couple of days ago. If you noticed, it was minus 120 and then it went to minus 150 for a little bit and then it came back. So I played it when it was minus 120 before it went to minus 150 before it came back again. I just think instead of laying juice on Orolbai, I think he'll be able to get top time, and he's good at consolidating. His chain wrestling is really good. His cage wrestling is elite, I think. So I think he's going to be able to get into top position. And I trust Brener to stay safe, and he's hella durable. And if somehow Brener makes it into a dogfight and can scramble up and land the better shots on the feet, then I'm safe. Orolbai looks like he has a really solid chin, mountain man chin. Medic landed a few really clean shots on him, and he just ate them. So, yeah, I thought the over was a solid look.
Yep, that was my thought process as well. Except now on Bet365, I had to put in odds converter. It's minus 160, so that's quite a lot worse than what you have.
There,
Minus
I
one.
think there's some minus 140s floating
What?
around right now.
What's it on Bet Online?
Minus 145.
It doesn't sound too bad. I don't know. Marley, at chalk, I feel like both these guys are finishing equity. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They're
both tough as fuck, though.
I know. It's one of those. It's one of those where they're just going to be beating the shit out of each other, and then it will go over, right? Unless Brener lands another neck punch in round 3. What do we got?
Yeah, but Orolbai won't go out like that fraud Guram.
You never know, man. I mean, he wasn't a fraud until he was a fraud, right? Silva greedy decision. I can see it. Yeah. Silva actually. I don't mind that. You consider that Silva decision, Gene Silva? That could be a decent price.
Yeah, but I just wanted the money line instead since it was around the same price.
I actually like that a lot, man, because Gomis would probably survive. Oh, it's trash, man. Plus 275. Yeah, that's trash. I thought the bookies wouldn't be on that. All right. What else?
This is kind of weird matchmaking, though, because Brener is coming off 2 really impressive wins over good guys in the division, and he's fighting in his home country, and then they match him with this like elite wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, you would think they would give him a favorable matchup.
Or at least someone who wants to keep it on the feet and bang.
Then again, it's a pay-per-view, you know. They need good fights. This should be a banger.
Yeah, but it could just be 15 minutes of Orolbai just, chain grappling him.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I feel like Brener won't allow that. Over is good for Brener fight, although it could be an absolute war. It's definitely going to be a war. Got to pin this one for sure. All right, let's move on. We're on good schedule, right?
Yeah.
Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Iasmin Lucindo. As I said, these squash matches I didn't go into deep. I know my friend told me at the early line there was still value, but he's really good at tackling these extremely chalky lines and finding value in them. I'm not. I just knew I wouldn't like it. I do think Lucindo's a little bit overrated. I mean, she lost to Iasmin, and I think Iasmin's overrated too. But she's good everywhere. Good power on her feet. She got dropped by Vienna, so she's still 22, and I want to wait for her to finish her progression before I start laying massive chalk on her. Yeah, she should be the favorite just for the youth and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not interested in parlaying something like this. Look at props, but I know she let a lot of people down when she couldn't finish Brogan. You just don't know how she's going to fight. That's my main issue with Lucinda. Is she going to strike? Is she going to grapple? Is she going to chase the finish? Is she going to be technical in there? Is she going to test her striking? So pass fight all around for me. What about you?
Yeah, I wasn't that impressed with Lucindo's performance against Polyena. So yeah, I wasn't interested in laying chalk on her against Karolina. But I tried to fade Karolina with Belbita, which obviously didn't work. So I don't want to jump on her now because obviously I saw her slowing down. She's not as fast as she used to be. So I think Lucindo's speed is just going to be able to win a decision for her. I would be surprised if she finished Karolina, but I guess it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way to tackle it. Let me just look at totals quickly. I think this was also Pick'em, right, for totals?
Is it?
Which kind of seems accurate to me. Oh, no, actually, the under is decent price. Yeah, that'll be the only way to tackle it, really. Or Lucinda, obviously. I
don't really give KK much finishing
exactly,
equity. Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah, what is that? Let me just check. One sec. This is a betting show after all. We've got to be plus 145 for Lucinda inside the distance. So it's the same as the under 2.5. So you just hit the under 2.5 there, I guess. Alrighty, great fight. Joanderson Brito versus Jack Shaw. Some people saying this is not the best pay-per-view, but I mean they still have Joanderson Brito, Jack Shaw on the prelim, so I guess it's not too bad. All right, decent little fights. I think most people are just shitting on the main event, which we'll talk about a few fights time. Yeah, I played some Joanderson, 1 unit when the line came back after Shaw took some action on a stale line, $1.66. And I see people in the Discord placing even better lines. So obviously even more money has come on, $1.70, which is minus 142. So yeah, I mean, it's a bit scary. bit scary, chalk and whatnot. But then again, I feel like I have an extremely good read on Jack Shaw. I've been on him in all his fights, up to the top. And I remember me and my boy Scrap, I'll see you one day again, Scrap. When we used to do these podcasts together, we both lined up on fading Jack Shaw against Ricky Simone. And that was one of those ones where the line didn't move all week. And I taped it last. And I just knew one fight in, I'm like, yeah, this is a bet on Ricky Simone. His main issue is his physicality and, yeah, just not much power. And he just kind of has to break you down with 3 rounds, He's a technical guy. This typical Cage Warrior soy dude. And it feels kind of like a setup match with Joanderson Brito. Like we got Elves, Brener, and some of these other guys with extremely tough matchups in Brazil. Well, not all of them, but some of them. And then you got, Joanderson Brito. Here's Jack Shaw, which is, I would say, a step down from Pierce potentially. And some of the other fights he's had in the UFC, maybe Feely even. So, yeah, it's just how much decision equity you give to Brito. I think Brito can pick him up and slam him. I think he can knock him out. I think he can submit him. Yeah. I think Jack is going to be shitting his pants in there. And if it's looking bad, round 3, Jack should have the better cardio in round 3 compared to Brito. You can possibly lie bet out. But if anything, I'll just play a Jack by decision. If you like that side, or let me see. What are the overs? The overs are plus money, right? Yeah, the 2.5 or the go distance is 2 plus 150, $2.50. So I would just probably play that instead of Shaw. What about you?
Yeah, I was hoping that I would like Jack and that I would get on a play for him, just because I felt like a lot of people were going to be on Brito and it was kind of going to get mushed, which I still kind of feel like it's possible. My problem with Brito is his cardio, and he's got a ton of power, a ton of physicality, but his striking is pretty telegraphed. Like, it's not technical at all. I think Shore should be able to see it coming, especially as the fight wears on. Like, obviously you can catch him early, but my biggest problem with Shore is, like you had mentioned, the physicality, the size. But that was his first fight at 45 in the UFC. So I wanted to see him at weigh-ins to see if he added a bunch of muscle or something. I doubt it, but Brito, what I don't like about Brito is he can get stuck on his back for long periods of time. Pierce controlled him for 4 minutes of round 2, and Pierce has terrible control. So I think Shore, with having better jiu-jitsu than Pierce, can potentially be able to hold him down for longer periods of time, and he's got the better cardio. But I don't trust Jack getting stuck on his back either. And like we have been talking about, his physicality is pretty bad. I could see Brito muscling him down and then keeping him down also. I might look at the GTD though at plus money.
Yep, it's 10 cents better than Jack Shaw's money line.
Yeah, I think that's decent because I don't think he's going to submit Brito.
Oh no, I don't think he's finishing Brito. Brito hasn't been finished once in his entire career. The dude is like absolute Brazilian ape, and he puts himself in subs, but like just
yeah, he muscles out.
He's a black belt. He's a black belt, and yeah. I know from like when you're a black belt and then you build like this guy, these guys are like impossible to sub, man. They're like, forget it. Alrighty, my boy Misha the Punk. Don't forget to like the stream. Thanks, sir. Go subscribe to Misha the Punk if you like gaming footage. Jack hand surgery, yeah. If he death gasses, look, I forgot to mention this, and I wasn't going to, but when I watched that Algeo fight, I thought he had a clear case for round 2 and 3, and then obviously round 3 he ended up really bad on his back, bad visuals. But yeah, he was just lighting up Algeo, man. They're telegraphed, but they just come. He's just aggressive, extremely aggressive, and Jack Shaw likes a pretty fight. So yeah, Ricky Simone dropped Jack. Yeah, you can only imagine what Brito would do to him. All right, let's move on. Another juiced fight. Paul Craig, Bearju versus Kaya Bohaya. I do like Paul Craig, but I think he's extremely limited. Only thing I'm considering here is Kaya Bohaya by knockout. Can you come around to it after being extremely tilted? If you had it in the Abus Magomedov fights, rounds 2 and 3, the guy is just so good at not finishing fights. KO. I will mention there's one big error here on Bet365. I don't know what it's like on Bet Online, but they have the sub favored for KO. That's awful. The only guy who subbed in the UFC is Pichel, and with how much back control he gets, that's definitely wrong. The KO should be favored here because Old Mate is chinny, Paul Craig is chinny, and he's pretty good at jiu-jitsu. He has been subbed before, but he's pretty decent. I think just because Old Mate Allen beat the shit out of him and eventually subbed him, that's why the line is where it's at. But yeah, KO will pass for me. KO Bahia, maybe look at some 2-3s. That's where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, I have the same exact read. I'm kind of thinking that everyone's going to be on the KO, so I'm worried that it's going to be mushed, and that like he'll club and sub him or something like that, because Craig can be a little wilty, especially as the fight goes on. And I could just see him dropping him and then setting up an arm triangle. But yeah, the KO makes a ton of sense. Yeah, I'm just worried that everyone's on it, but I'll probably be on the 2-3 iterations of it and a little bit straight.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine, man. I've learned not to be scared by the mush. Like last week, it was Petrovic 2-3 and Henry 2-3, and look, the public was right. It was the most obvious thing. I was like, I'm gonna tape this fight. Last time it was remember Viana. What was it? Fuck. Who did she fight?
Jillian Robertson.
And Iasmin 2-3. That was the parlay. There's someone in my Discord, Pillow Fist Brits, shout out. He made 20-something thousand by parlaying those two.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn, that was so obvious. Why don't I do shit like that? Like when I know exactly what's gonna happen, why don't I parlay that? And I'm like, this card, I'm gonna do it. And I wrote down Petrovic 2-3, and I couldn't find the second parlay piece. I thought maybe Yaya could make it to decision. And that was the one. That was the one. Yeah. Henry 2-3 and Petrovic 2-3, and that would have been like Steve's Pillow Fist Bridge. But anyway.
Yeah, I think I ended up passing on Petrovic and Henry, probably because I thought everyone was on them and that, it was just going to be mushed. So it's something that I got to look at for my own betting sake, not overthinking these things.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, man, especially on pay-per-views, the most obvious shit happens. And that's why I always lose money, because I overthink it, right? But 3 years ago, when I was a lot more simple and a lot more square, I made a lot more money on pay-per-views. So we just have to adjust, I guess. Alrighty. By the way, I just want to drop an announcement. Chad just agreed with us and played Gomis Go the Distance in the Discord. So keep agreeing, Chad. Keep agreeing with both of us. Obviously, listen to the show. That was 2 minutes ago. All right, let's move on. We're already one fight deep in the main card, and I mean another squash match. Michel Pereira, Io Pateria. I only taped Michel's last 2 middleweight fights because I know his welterweight career extremely well. I bet him heaps of times. I bet him against Price or Juice. I bet him against Ponzinibbio. I pick him, and he looked like a dominant guy there. And then round 3, somehow they gave him a split. But yeah, I think he's a complete different guy at middleweight. I don't think that's like hype or bullshit or whatever. I think it's clearly obvious on tape. He hits like a truck. And he was really close to finishing people in welterweight, and he didn't. And now he's doing that. And I know some people are considering Pateria because he won a decision against Robert Brishek. And if you actually tape Brishek in octagon, whenever he goes to decision, his decision equity is horrendous. Actually, obviously, clearly more horrendous than Pateria. So I'm not really holding much credence to that win. He did get lit up and lost round 1 there. And Brishek is predominantly a boxer. Pereira he's got a mean tip kick. The Olezinchik, the Lord. So yeah, I'm not really rushing to fade Pereira here with someone like Pateria. I did like the under at Pick'em, and the next day it was themed, and I just had this gut feeling that it was Pepe that hit it, and then he wrote in the Discord I hit it. And I'm like, that's good. That's the same thing happened with Medic, and it made me really confident that under was going to hit. So you're probably going to hit that under. You're going to smash it. But
did you pass on the under?
This under, I just looked at it and I went to
the Medic fight.
No, I locked it in at plus 160.
Oh, okay.
But then I didn't give it to the Discord because upon retape, I'm like, this is all Medic, his finishing upside, And last time I did that with Blendado and Weinman, it was predicated on Weinman, it went over. So I'm like, if Means kind of wrestles him here for 1.5 rounds and survives a knockdown, it's going to go over. So I'm like, nah, I don't want to give it to the Discord. But then you steamed it. I'm like, yeah, this is hitting. This is definitely hitting. And yeah, 1-punch KO. But yeah, I just thought about it, and then I don't know if I want to hit it at chalk now. What is it now on Bet365? I kind of feel like you have to ride the train, the Pereira on the round 1 KO train.
Yeah, he could get an early submission too. Like Ihor's defensive grappling is a liability also. I know he's not like terrible, but he had his neck. Bellato could have taken his neck so easy. I had the round 2 submission for Bellato at like a stupid number, and he's just beating the shit out of him once he survived, and just refused to take the submission. I was so fucking pissed. But I have the under 1.5 here. I think they both have finishing equity, and if Pereira is covering minus 700, he's getting a round 1 finish. I didn't go huge on it, but I do think that there was some value there, especially fighting in Brazil. Like I could see him coming out like even hotter than usual. Like he's been coming out very hot at middleweight, and he's carrying much more power, it seems like. And Ihor is super hittable, and yeah, Pereira is hittable or hurtable, I'll say. He got finished by Dusko on the regionals. Filho kind of rocked him in round 1 too. He didn't get the finish, but he had Pereira, dancing around. So I'm not going to completely rule out an Ihor early finish. That's why I didn't go Pereira round 1, round 2. So yeah, I was happy with that.
Yeah. The only reason that I had pause is because I think Ihor is quite durable, and there's some of the shots he took from Bresky, like we've seen him just run through fools on octagon. He just handled them fine. That's why I didn't play the under in the Bellato fight too. He basically didn't get hurt by anything Bellato threw on just until he cardio died. So, but hey, Pereira seems like a completely different animal, like you said.
He's a different level striker than those guys, in my opinion.
No, it's obvious. It's obvious on tape. We'll see. At chalk, I'll have to evaluate it properly. Anthony Smith, Lionheart, Vitor Petrino. Is this the last of the chalky? It is. Thank goodness. I taped this one right before the show. I'll go straight to what I'm considering. I'm considering the over 1.5. He was much better price against Khalil, so I really like that play. Even though I'm not really an over guy, but as you saw, I'm getting there. The Mayors go the distance. I would never play that a year ago. It's a little bit chalky. $1.62, and Anthony Smith is getting hurt in a lot of these fights. Probably a little bit more chinny than he used to be, but he's a survivor. He survived Ryan Spann. He survived Khalil's bunch of knockdowns before wobbles, I should say, before round 3. He survived Johnny Walker to decision. He survived Magomed Ankalaev until he broke his leg. So, yeah, I don't think Petrino hits that hard. So, when did he knock out Modestas Bukauskas? Was it under?
Early round 2.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but that was a 1-punch KO. I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing. Or maybe Petrino decision. Yeah, that could. But that's what's that paying? Yeah, they're favoring KO. So Petrino decision could get some money out of me. We'll see. But it's another squash match, man. What are you going to do?
Yeah, it just depends what approach Petrino takes to the fight. Like, if he's going to wrestle, then he's obviously going to look like a big favorite because Smith is so weak off his back at this stage in his career. But yeah, like that dude just said, 16-1 is pretty nice for a Smith submission. Petrino hasn't faced the best grapplers. Has he faced any good grappler?
Yeah, but he's not gonna. Well, Pedro is a black belt, and Turco.
Yeah, but that wasn't that just a kickboxing match?
And Rodolfo is a black belt too. I don't know, man. What I've seen from Petrino.
Bellato at his back.
Yeah, but what I've seen there, I wrote down in my mind that he's just gonna explode out of every
Yeah,
naked shot.
like a
Unless you're
Brito,
elite.
like a Brito.
Yeah, unless you're elite. Or no, like Onama. I think Onama is a better example. That Onama is. I've just said this guy's gonna be tough to submit by anyone. Yeah, I like Anthony Smith, man. Like he submitted Devin Clark and a Wash Gustafson. I don't think he's gonna get a rear naked choke on someone like Petrino. He might get his back. I will say that this is definitely the toughest guy he's fought. As washed as he is, like who's worse? Who's better than Smith? Tyson Pedro, Bukaskis? No, man.
Yeah, didn't Antigulov drop Petrino in round 1?
Yes, I've only watched that once. But hey, Antigulov cracks, man. Almost knocked out that Erikin dude on ACA. Yeah, he's definitely hittable. Bilardo dropped him too. And so did Turkaraj twice. So there's no way you can play these favorites, man. I think Lionheart is going to give him a fight. Every time he got cracked by Khalil, he just kept coming forward and he was wallowing Khalil up. But Khalil is just a different animal when it comes to counter striking and speed. And Petrino is just a bit lumbering. But that's probably enough to win here, man. Who knows? I think this could be a good live bet fight.
Yeah, I mean, fuck laying the chalk on Petrino. Like I'm not parlaying him or anything like that.
If I had to parlay someone, it would probably be Lucindo and Borjas, but Lucindo just gives me AIDS just thinking about it. You can just rely on Karolina.
Well, yeah, there's less variance in WMMA fights.
Yeah, especially when one of them is really old and harmless.
Yeah.
Alrighty, good fight. Jonathan Martinez versus Jose Aldo, the King of Rio, coming back to his hometown. I don't know, man. This is I'm really considering the dog here. I don't know where the line's going to go or how much it has to go for me to lock it in, but I'm really considering. I'll give you my quick take on why. Aldo has always been good at checking kicks. I even watched that his last fight against Merab, and he's always ready to check kicks, right? He's checking Merab's kicks like they do any sort of damage, right? So he doesn't want to give you any free leg kicks. Obviously, the game plan is going to be to check Jonathan Martinez's kicks. If you're an idiot, you're going to come in there unprepared for those kicks. I think we're both on Yanez, and just nothing pisses me off more than losing a fight to leg kick TKOs. That just makes me want to jump out of a window. So yeah, he's obviously going to be prepared for that. He's extremely durable. He's not just going to die like Cub Swanson. Down a weight where we shouldn't have been drained that much. I'm not really impressed with Jonathan Martinez's wins, like all the way down to the start of his career to now, where he's supposedly ranked. Vince Morales, Alejandro Perez, Said Nagomedov. Just I played him there. We all played him there. I live bet him as well. And Said is just a gassy dude, So it was a good matchup for him, and he kind of threw that fight away. Yeah, and then I tried to fade him against Yanez as well because I thought Yanez is really good at parrying kicks and countering. But yeah, obviously just a couple of kicks and he fucked up his ACL as well. So yeah, I don't think that's live here. I think he might have the better volume against Aldo, but that's been said against for Aldo many times. We've seen him have a lot worse volume against Rob Font. That was one of my favorite bets in the 5-round. I beat the piss out of him. Pedro had less volume than Pedro Munoz, beat the piss out of him. Marlon Vera. Yeah, man, I think this is it's a clear dog or pass. Some people saying, he's been doing a lot of boxing now, so that's an issue. Man, Jonathan Martinez has bad boxing and he has a bad chin and bad striking defense. So if anything, that's better for Aldo to just spark him out there, body shot to the head. Yeah, King of Rio. Well, what is there to say? What is there to say?
I think, remember when, I don't know, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, DraftKings was putting out the props for the missed weight prop.
Right.
I don't know if they're still doing that because they didn't offer it to me on my DraftKings account. But my hot take for the week is that Martinez is going to miss weight. Look how sucked out he looks in that picture and the Tapology picture. Like he's had weight misses before in the past, and now he's traveling to Brazil. He looks a little out of shape in photos that I've seen. And he just opened up a new gym. Yeah, I have a theory he's going to miss weight. But as far as Aldo, it's kind of tough to get to an Aldo play just because of how old he is and how much he slows down. Yeah, like he was saying, the post-USADA Aldo, he definitely needs some sort of EPO to give him better cardio. Because, he slows down in every fight, and I think that could be an issue here, especially if Martinez is able to get the leg kicks going early. Then Aldo is probably fucked. But Martinez is chinny, and Aldo generally has good game plans. So I think Martinez is fairly easy to game plan for. I just don't know if Aldo is going to do it. He's got to pressure him very hard and not let him get the space to get the kicks off. And yeah, I do think the KO is live. I think someone said it's like plus 700. I think that's a solid look. KO
Yeah.
1-2, especially because I'd be surprised if he got it in round 3.
No, you never know, man. You never know. I think a lot of the beatings that he put on Font, that was like 2, 3, 4, 5, and
Dude, yo, that kind of pissed me off though, because I was on Aldo and Aldo KO for that fight.
no,
And dude, he kept dropping him and then wouldn't finish up with ground and pound. He would just like jump and fucking get in his guard and do nothing.
yeah. This is why when I have bets, this is where my like scaredness saves me. When I have bets that I really like, I don't play the props because I'm like, I would just hate like going into my profit if something like that happens. Like he almost finishes him, but he doesn't. But sometimes I double tap and it works out. Any chance Aldo grapples? Who knows? There's a slight chance. I mean, when he was 1-1 against Vera, he did it. So, but I don't think
Martinez is tough to grapple.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was about to say. So I don't know. I think he can easily win a striking fight here. He had a boxing match in July last year, man. He went to a decision. It's not like he's off the couch, man. This guy's training.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
He's just gonna come in and put his best in Rio, and it was really low volume against Marab, but there was a takedown.
Yeah,
there was a takedown threat there.
Yeah, I'm just worried about the cardio.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I think it's overrated, man. I think is Jonathan Martinez is not going to push the cardio pace. He's just going to leg kick him from outside.
Yeah, as long he doesn't like rip into his body.
Yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, look how much punishment he can take. How much punishment Jan gave him. I think it was 2-1 Aldo in rounds 3, 4, and 5.
He's just been through so many wars though, like it all adds up at some point.
True. But then when you start taking the juice, you fight like a 21-year-old again. All right. There was a good comment here. There will be blood. 19 likes is F. What the F? So probably in all my years, in 2 years, I never asked for more likes. So give me more likes, you dogs. 19. Big Bird. Aldo finish only is 2.7. The KO is 8. That's wild, man. Isn't that a bit wild that they're favoring Martinez to finish him? Cool.
No, yeah, Aldo can take a fucking beating.
Yeah, man. Alrighty. Whoops. Share this instead. Alrighty. Alessandro Pantoja, Steve Erceg. I will let you take this one away. What I will say, though, is I've been on Steve Erceg, the boy, on every single fight in the UFC. Dvorak as a massive underdog. Costa as a slight favorite. And inside the distance over Matt Schnell. I was going to play sub. I got saved there last minute. But yeah, am I playing him here? Not so sure. The line is coming a lot. It's very popular dog. I'll let Pepe break it down.
Yeah, so I got on Erceg early in the week when he was around plus 200, and he just checks a lot of boxes for like a moderate to big underdog that I want to back. Yes, it is a huge step up in competition, but I actually think Erceg has the better striking than Pantoja. Like, his defense isn't great, but Pantoja doesn't move his head at all. The jab should be free for him. He seems like a good scrambler. I know Pantoja's on another level with back takes and everything, but he's fought decent grapplers in the past. And I really like how he's fought through adversity in a lot of his fights. Like, people will knock him for that, for getting rocked in multiple fights. But I kind of like seeing that because I know he can stay calm in the fire and not freak out. Those are the kind of fighters that you want to back. And Pantoja has just been through so many wars, and he's getting up to that age where there's going to be a steep drop-off, especially at flyweight. Like, the window is so small, and he's been in multiple wars. I don't know. I just think with Erceg's durability and his well-roundedness, I think he has a really good shot to shock people, potentially get the knockout. But I do think the decision is live as well. I know a lot of people think like he's KO or bust, but I think he can win minutes on the feet. Like Pantoja has had to rely on like desperate grappling. You know, in the Moreno fight, Moreno broke his hand in round 1. Very sloppy fight. Like it was a fun war, but Moreno, like even that win isn't aging that well. Like Moreno is a bit washed himself, and now we're getting someone in their prime, which obviously Pantoja's fought the way better people, but Erceg's 28 years old. He's the bigger guy, and yeah, he's got the cleaner hands, able to fight through adversity. I think he's a great play as a big underdog.
Yeah, I can't disagree. Very popular play this week. Just pretty much a ton of people I know on him. I couldn't lock it in. Just because of the step up, and some red flags with Erceg, which you've mentioned. The hit ability. I think Pantoja has the better jiu-jitsu. I think he has the better wrestling. More power probably as well. But Erceg is definitely cleaner. Mm-hmm. He's definitely cleaner. And the reason I played him against Dvorak when, he was such a massive dog and everyone's like, he's only fighting bums, it's that Haddon fight that he barely won, It's like you see him dig deep, even though it was a short notice and he was undersized and he lost round 2, he digs deep, and he lost round 2 badly to Alessandro Costa, which is a massive red flag to me. He got dropped like 2-3 times, got mounted, and it's like, it's Alessandro Costa, man. Just stay patient and fight like round 1, and then in round 3 he resorted to just cage pushing him, and it's like he needs a pretty fight. And whenever someone brought it out of him, he kind of like dropped around or he did something silly. I just think he's a little bit more green, but I think he's going to be making big strides fight to fight. And I would have liked him to have a few more fights before going up against Pantoja. And I don't know how it's too many questions for me. I don't know how it's going to look when Pantoja just bites down and starts, like he's definitely going to hit him. The chin's there. He might even take him down, might backpack him. Like is Steve just going to look like a good dog in 5 rounds of striking? And I don't know. Just there's too many questions for me. But it's hard. It's always hard to play Pantoja as a massive favorite, right? Especially in a 5-rounder. Brandon Royval was an ideal fight. He could always hit an easy takedown if things are going wrong, as you mentioned. But then again, Moreno was a tough matchup, man. That wasn't easy at all, right? Moreno had the cardio. He had a lot better. He's a lot quick. His hands a lot quicker than Erceg's, and he was just lighting up Pantoja, and he was still getting taken down, getting his back taken. I think Moreno, even though he's obviously clearly washed, he was washed in that Royval fight. At that point in time, he gave it his all. So. Yeah, and the Perez fight is aging well, right? I mean, look at Perez now. We all thought he was a bum, but guess not. And the Cup fight. Obviously, that was his first fight in the UFC. His Cup's improved. Yeah, I don't know. On tape, you always want to fade Pantoja, and I'm still like feeling like I should hit Erceg, even though the line is coming a ton. That doesn't bother me. I'm not, NTT. 280 was value, but 270 is not. And it's the same shit. If it's going to be a close fight, if it's going to be pick'em in a 5-rounder, then there's value, right? But I just can't. I can't pull the trigger. My gut is telling me just wait for live bet. Wait to see how Pantoja looks, how aggressive he's going to be, how Erceg is going to handle that aggression, which he's usually had issues with in the UFC. And he's just struggling against these dudes like Costa and Dvorak. I want him to kind of run through these guys before I'm confident. But
what do you think about the under 3.5 at +120?
Well, I actually like the over, man, because because who's gonna? No, he got hit again by another 10 cents. I think Erceg is super live to knock him out, man. Like Pantoja is a knockout waiting to happen, dude. I'm just telling you. He is. He's obviously extremely, extremely hittable, but. He's got an iron chin,
but those can't last forever.
True, but do we think Erceg's gonna knock him? Is Erceg gonna be the guy that KO?
Erceg is super clean. I mean, he's got some decent power. He dropped Dvorak, Costa, knocked out Schnell.
Yeah,
Schnell has an iron chin, so you know that that knockout matters a lot.
Yeah, 3 chinny dudes. Like, yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's the only reason I played him against Costa at chalk. Like, I was like, he's got weaknesses here. He won't be able to take Costa down. But I'm like, just because Costa's chinny, and if he got that round 1, but after that he couldn't drop him again. So yeah, I don't know. He's probably gonna get like big moments on Pantoja. I think Moreno might actually hit harder as well, to be honest.
Also,
Moreno,
there is a chance that Pantoja just like runs through him and submits him in round 1.
well,
Like
that's the only.
Because there is a lot of question marks. Like you're kind of playing into a lot of volatility. With the Erceg underdog shot, there's definitely a chance that Pantoja is able to get like a round 1 submission.
That's the thing. That's the only reason I haven't locked it in. It's only just the reason I passed up on Erceg as a dog is the reason why I passed up on the under as well. Like, can Pantoja be a levels fight for him? Like, he's done it to Perez and stuff, who I still think Perez is good. And he's dropped, Moreno hard in round 1. He's just rabies, man. When he comes out and he cracks Erceg, I do think Erceg will survive, but a lot of times 2 and 3, like his mouth is open, and now that it's a fight, he's not as clean as he was in round 1. That's my issue. So this got a narration. How did Erceg power look good? It looked good when he dropped Shannon Ross.
But his striking has improved though.
Yeah, he's extremely clean. That's why he was always a perfect dog. In all these fights, he's got everything, like, apart from head movement and physicality. His wrestling leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah, I think like you said, he's improving a lot fight to fight, and we might be catching him at his prime right now. But yeah, maybe we're missing one fight before he's ready for someone like Pantoja.
Yeah, that's how I feel personally. Just one more fight of someone that's not as shit as freaking Matt Schnell. Even Matt Schnell wobbled him in round 1, man. He wobbled him in round 1, and yeah, Schnell cracks, but it's like, what happens if Pantoja hits you like that and you drop?
Schnell dropped Royval in round 1.
Yeah, Royval's also like extremely hittable, but it's like he said in the interview that he wouldn't do that because he did it against Costa, and Costa dropped him, and then he did it again. It's like, I think that one more fight, maybe like against Mokaev or Perez, or even Nicola. Nicola would have been a good fight for him. He probably would have knocked him out too. And then people would be like, Erceg hits like a truck. He would have had 4 chinny guys in a row. But yeah, one more fight, and then he could maybe like iron out some of those issues. But now he's gone to Brazil, man, and it's like a tough task. But I can't fault anyone. I know so many people on the dog. It's like a show me spot for me. And if anything, I'll play the over, and then that way, if I play the over, that's me saying Erceg is going to survive, So
yeah, I was hoping to get plus 700 on the KO, but it looks like it's gotten a lot of steam, which is so annoying.
Erceg KO, yeah, it's pretty average, man. That's decision is 6. I don't think you can sub Pantoja. That's for sure. Yeah, definitely like the over here. All right, we'll go over the best bets quickly. What do I got? Best bets. At the moment I have Borjas and I have Brito, but something tells me I'm going to have a lot more this week. I like this pay-per-view. My gut tells me that there will be plays. So yeah, do both of them as best bets. I actually feel like they both hit. One's an underdog and Brito is, whatever.
I'll take Borjas and Gene Silva, and I got to run.
Let's go. Easy peasy.
Thanks for having me on, Big Steve. It's always a pleasure.
You want to plug something before you go?
What?
You want to plug something?
Yeah,
Fight numbers.
Fucking follow me on Twitter, boys, and sign up for Fight Numbers. We got a good thing going on. A lot of cool betting tools on the site. It's not just picks. There's a lot more to it. So yeah, come join. And thanks as always. I'll catch you guys later.
No worries. Peace out. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Comments are always good on the videos. Alrighty. Thanks, boys. Ooh, I've got a comment. What do we got here? Cheers, Pepe. No worries. Costa never dropped him, Steve. Are we taking the piss? Costa definitely dropped Steve Erceg in round 2. Alrighty. Thanks. Like and subscribe. See you later.